And his exoskeleton has completely separated now. And those secretions begin to transform him in that castle of change. His whole body, from his head to his thorax to his abdomen, begins to change. Those three-part house now. I ain't got time. His whole body begins to change during this time that he's in that castle of change, and everything's switching on the inside. He's metamorphosed. And I ain't gonna go there, but you know what the word metamorphosis means, okay? Just want you to understand what's taking place. And watch this. While he's in that place, he is the most vulnerable. It is the most dangerous time of his life because he's easy prey while he's in that stage. Because he's no longer a fuzzy worm that can crawl off and do his own thing, but he's not yet a butterfly, so he can't fly away. He's in a dangerous time of his life. And listen, what you don't understand is that part of his life is the most precious time that he'll have during this transition. Now, it usually takes about 21 days now to preach. It usually takes about 21 days for the process to work. Now, they've checked it. Some of them can do it in 14, some of them can do it in 28. But the average is 21 days. And if you read your Bible, you'll find a guy by the name of Daniel that was shut up in his castle of change, and he began to cry out to the Lord. Listen to this. And 21 days later, he had a visitation. Now, God heard him the first day he prayed. How many of y'all think that God just don't hear you? No. God heard him the first day. God heard him the second day. God heard him the third day. But the difference in us and Daniel never quit. He never gave up. He stayed in that place waiting on the Lord until his answer came. In that chrysalis or that cocoon, while he's in the most dangerous state of his life, it would be real easy. It would be real easy for him to die off, to die in that stage of existence. I can tell you as a truth that in most Christianity, most people die off right there in that stage. They don't have a problem with the egg stage because they don't know any better. They don't have a problem with the fuzzy worm stage because they don't care. But when you get in that place, in that castle of change, in that cocoon of life, it's real easy because you remember and you can't do anything. And he can't get out on his own. Watch this. He's developing. As he begins to change inside that, of course, his wings begin to grow. Everything begins to happen in his body, but he's still not strong enough. But he's pressing, he's moving, he's shifting, he's doing everything. Everybody say it takes development for me to be able to fulfill God's purpose in my life. Say it takes development. Yeah. What you don't understand, that time in that castle of change is necessary. If you go break that cocoon open, you'll kill his chance of ever flying. Are you listening? But then there comes a time when the change is taking place and he gets ready to come out of his cocoon. Everybody say, time to eat. And he goes back to the very first thing that was his instinct when he was created. He literally eats his way out of that castle of change. Turn to your neighbor and say, you can't force your way out of your situation. You can't make God do something. You can't make God poof and hurry up. You can't make God do it your way. There's only one way for you to get out. You've got to eat your way out. Oh, God. And he don't eat a big hole like most of you think. He eats just a little hole. And once he gets that hole opened, he begins to press himself. Turn to your neighbor and say, the press is on. And as he's pressing his way through that little hole, he's squeezing all the life juices from his body out into his wings. Because that's what it takes to straighten out his wings, is that pressure. Turn to your neighbor and say, maybe the reason you've been under so much pressure is that God is getting ready to let you take flight. And finally, after all the thing that works, everything does its right job, and he's eating his way out of his cocoon, here he is, a beautiful butterfly. And he stays. Wait, he don't turn loose yet. He stays in that position after he's out of the cocoon for half an hour, letting his wings finish their development so they can dry out and be prepared to take flight. And then, after that half hour time, all of a sudden he catches a breeze and he begins to move. Turn to your neighbor and say, God's a moving God. You're supposed to be moving too. He takes flight and he begins to soar up into the heavens. Now what's the difference from the stage that he was in to the stage he is now? As he begins to take that flight into the heavens, and he begins to stretch those wings, and as he moves those wings, they get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And all of a sudden, he looks back at where he used to live and thinks, why did that matter so much to me? Why did I care about the rotting issues of life? What was I thinking when I was in that stage of my development? That all I cared about was me. And the first thing he'll do